Talking about talking elephants is a favorite pastime in our family. We get a kick out of talking about things that don't exist. Wow, that's a lot of talking. You heard all those verb INGs, but can you identify what their part of speech is? Hi, it's me, Dora, and welcome back to another great episode of Bite Size English, your daily bite of English. Today, we're continuing our discussion about those verb INGs and how they can play different roles in the English language. Let's have a look at those sentences again. There are 3 instances where we use the word talking. Can you identify their part of speech? I'll give you a hint. 2 are gerunds and 1 is an adjective. If you watched episodes on gerunds and when to use them, then you'll know which ones are gerunds. And if you watched part 1 of Name That Verb ING, then you'll be able to identify the adjective. You should be able to see that numbers 1 and 3 are gerunds, and number 2 is an adjective as it describes the noun elephant. How do we know that number 1 and 3 are gerunds? Number 1 is actually a gerund phrase. Can you identify where the real verb is? The verb to be is the real verb in this clause. The subject is the entire phrase talking about talking elephants. Number 3 is a gerund because after a preposition like of, we use a gerund. Now take a look at this sentence. It looks similar to the previous sentence, but it's not. Let's go over it. What do we know for sure? Be is still an adjective. If you watched the first episode on Name That Verb ING, you'd know that see is a verb in the present continuous. But let's look at A very carefully. What is it? A is actually known as a participle phrase. A participle phrase has a present participle, a verb ing, or a past participle, a verb and ed. That entire phrase in this sentence structure acts as an adjective to the subject, which in this case is our family. In a participle phrase, the subject can have multiple actions happening at the same time. In this case, we know 2 things about the family. They talk about talking elephants, and while they're talking, they talk excitedly. Now let's replace that word talking with other verb INGs so that we don't sound repetitive, because really, no one would write or speak in this way. How about this? I replace the verb talk with synonyms. I keep the sentence structure the same, and the sentence makes perfect sense. So what do we take away from our episodes on naming these verb INGs? What we need to see is that while the verb INGs all look the same, they have entirely different roles to play in each sentence. Verb INGs tests you on being able to identify different parts of speech. And when you can identify them, then you can replace the words I gave you with other words in your speaking or writing, but you keep the sentence structure written by a native speaker. And then you can sound native in doing it. Wow, that was a lot of information, and you probably want to find a worksheet. Well, it just so happens I've created one for you to test you on all these points made in Name That Verb ING Part 1 and 2. Check out the extra bite section on our website, bitesizeenglish.com. If you're still unsure, maybe you'd like to sign up for our classes. See you next time here on Bite Size English.